have this kind of love-hate relationship with leadership. I really don't like the term leadership because it implies they're the God that's going to save us. And it's their job to do it, not mine. And so I see leadership and the recent strong emphasis. Many programs have gone from teaching management to teaching what they call leadership. And I think it's the wrong direction totally. Leadership has fallen into the same trap that other disciplines have of focusing on the new and the good versus the bad, the us versus the them. And what are those qualities in a leader? When they did the study of followership, they found it's the same. They need to be the same person as the leader. And in fact, in my leadership class one time, I had everybody identify, and they had permanent groups during the semester, and I had them identify who are the most talkative people, take the initiative, that kind of thing, and who are the quieter ones in your group. I put all the quieter ones together, and I put all the talkative ones together. And it was amazing to me. The quiet ones suddenly became talkative. So once they had room, they could blossom. And the talkative ones said, oh, it was such a relief. I didn't have to do it all myself. So they had created their own prisons, and we can get out of that. And so I think getting away from this leader follower, us, them, is going to help us with everything. I also like the term heterarchy because it says it's not just hierarchy. That's not the only way. And sometimes it is the best way to approach something. They've done studies that say, when we're on routine tasks and they're easily dividable, hierarchy might be the most efficient way to do something. Efficiency is not always the best goal. So there are different circumstances. And so our views of leadership tend to be hierarchical, efficiency-oriented, top-down. And I think we miss the boat there. We are trained to create hierarchy. We are trained to see it everywhere and to reproduce it everywhere. I think that what was happening was as things changed and as technology develops and things change faster and faster, things didn't work. And so organizations were forced to be agile, to innovate and adapt, to forget the strategic planning and just do it. We can get there. And we are moving in that direction. But I think still too many people feel that it's a system of control, so they feel more secure if they can recreate a hierarchy and a rigid structure. When I was studying indigenous ethics, first of all, there was no literature on indigenous ethics. They didn't talk about ethics. And in the colonial style, we could say they don't have ethics. But what I discovered was that for them, ethics is life. Ethics is everything you do. So ethics is not a separate package over here. Sundays we go to church. Tuesdays we practice ethics. It's part of their lives. And so when I studied indigenous ethics, I found that in some indigenous cultures, there were more egalitarian ways of organizing. And actually, archaeologists had recognized their own bias in favor of seeing hierarchy. And then in the last 20 years, they've discovered that bias, and they have corrected for that and recognized that there were many societies that were very effective. They did not rely on hierarchy. They were more egalitarian. And there was this term heterarchy that they used. So we wrote about that idea in writing about indigenous leadership, because it was our colonial view that we imposed the idea that there's one chief and it's the male, and it was often the woman that actually happened. So anyway, all of these things combined to help us to see that we used our own biased filter when we looked historically at these cultures, and that, it was maybe a little different. And this idea of more egalitarian and less hierarchical systems came out of that. And in writing about that, we called it Ensemble. And then shortly after that, we heard about a group of agricultural workers in South Florida. And their motto was, "We are all leaders." And a friend of ours did his dissertation studying them. And he said, when he heard my presentation about ensemble leadership, he was all excited. And he said, "I know people who do this." And I said, "Let's go." So that's how we went there. And in observing them, it helped us to develop the steps to implement. What are they doing day to day that makes it more egalitarian? And that how do they live this motto of "we are all leaders," which they do. We found that they do, and they continue to do this.